Some days I just can't believe my luck. All fall, I've been searching for an isolated tree with beautiful color so that it would show contrast, stand out from the rest of the image. And just walking along this path today, I stumbled upon that. What a thing of beauty. This is not the image I came here for. I came here looking for a black and white image along the lake, of which I'm going to find. But I'm going to stop and take a few images of this. I'll throw them up. I'm super excited that I got to see that today. What a beautiful, beautiful tree. So I'm back, guys. It's been a little bit of time. Soccer season's over, and so now I'm back at it. I'm back at shooting photographs and trying to create some vlogs that you'll enjoy. So kind of give you an idea where I'm at today. I know you saw some of the B-roll footage, kind of set the scene a little bit. I'm at Tubbs Hill, one of my favorite places to come shoot pictures, and the water is like absolute glass today. It's pristine. The weather's not perfect. It's about noon, 12:30, and you can see I've composed an image here of this lone tree, and I've tried it. There's a beautiful reflection in the water right now, so I'm trying to get that image, and I've decided to try a couple of things today. Number one, I've got the wide angle lens on right now, and I'm going to go ahead and take one picture, actually maybe three, because I have the polarizer on. There's a lot of reflection, a lot of glare on the water, but it creates a lot of reflection for that tree, and I've tried to compose it using the rule of thirds and lens of symmetry, and including the reflection in the water. And I have a polarizer on, but as I turn the polarizer, it kind of kills the reflection of the tree. So I'll put all three images up. I took one fully polarized, one halfway, and one with no polarizer. And you can see the difference sometimes that a polarizer makes as far as good or bad in an image. Also, I'm going to shoot my 35mm lens to get a little bit more compression on that tree to bring it closer in. And I'm going to show you how to do a multi-row panorama. So I'm pretty much content with this image today. I don't think I'll need to do much more walking around because I really like what this image does. We've got nice clouds in the sky today, very overcast. It rained this morning, but it's making for a very, very beautiful image. And I believe I'm going to put this image to black and white, because black and white on a day like this really lends to the moodiness of it. So we'll see how it looks when I get to the computer, but that's my intent at this point. It's kind of how I envisioned this particular image. So I'm going to go ahead and take a few pictures, and then I'm going to switch the lenses and walk you through how I do this panorama. So I'm going to go ahead and show you how I set this shot up with the wide angle. And I honestly think that this is going to be my favorite, but I'm going to go ahead and try to do a multi-row pano with my 35mm lens to see what the difference is, and to show you what the difference is, how compression works or doesn't work sometimes. So if you see here, I have my grid set up, and I've got my tree which is one of my honestly should be my main subject in this, because it's just alone on this rock, and then also the reflection is showing right down there into the water. So I've got it right targeted in the crosshairs there, and then the crosshairs down below, as well as the rocks are just about in the third, just a little bit lower, slightly breaking the rule there, but you can't be perfect in scenarios like this. And then this right here, how the rock is coming out into the water, is exactly perfectly in the middle of the image. So I'm trying to create symmetry in this image, as well as trying to balance it using the rule of thirds. So, you know, not always can you follow these rules when you take a shot, but in this situation, it worked out perfectly. So there's a little pier over here, which I will take out in Photoshop because I don't like it sitting there. It won't show up most likely in the shot with the longer lens, but so we'll take it out of this one after. But that is the image and how I composed it. We can see here, this is beautiful out here right now, but right there is where I'm at full polarization. And at full polarization, I'm going to go ahead and with the 2-second timer, just take, and I'm going to actually set my point here, right there. It's at f11, so the rocks in the foreground will show up. Actually, it's not at f11, is it? Let me make it at f11. Change. According to my histogram, I'll dial in my exposure just slightly that way. I can bring, just making sure the highlights aren't clipping. As you can see in my histogram there, they're not clipping. It's a little dark, but that's okay. We'll bring up the shadows on the computer. So we'll take that again, the right exposure now. And then I'm going to go ahead and go halfway with my polarizer, so you can start to see the reflection of the tree and the water come in. And then we'll really take all the polarization out now. And I believe that's about right, all of it out. And now you can actually see the tree. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to switch lenses. And I have my lens here in my pocket. So I'm going to put my little 35mm lens on and take a panorama. So I'll have to pull this camera back. I'll take a panorama and I'll kind of talk you through that in a second. So what I have here is what we have, and I'm not going to mix this is good and tight, so it's not, because it's already set. So hopefully you can see this. These are my markings along the base here, and these markings along the base are laser engraved. They'll never wear off, and I use them so that I know exactly how far to turn my camera. And so once everything is perfectly leveled off with the leveling base, then I'll just, and there's a little slider here. I don't know if you can see it, but so it's I can slide this little thing right here, and that'll tell me where I can place it to a degree where I want to start. I know that I decided to start at 300 degrees here. And I know I'm going to rotate it to 315. And I'm going to do that 3 different times. I'm going to shoot. Also, I'm going to use these up here. It's marked right now at -5 degrees. And I'm going to shoot 1 row at -5, 1 row at 0, and 1 row at +5 degrees. Now that you've kind of seen the setup, my leveling base, I really love the leveling base. It makes my life a lot easier rather than have to mess with adjusting my legs all the time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use the markings like I talked about, and I'm going to go between 300 and 315 degrees. I'm going to take, and that just happens to be where I set the marker on my base here, on my tripod head. So I've already kind of pre-measured out how far to the left I want to go and how far to the right. I adjust my little marker guide here at 300 just because it's a nice round number. And I'm going to take 4 images, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm going to rotate the camera up. So right now it's at -10 degrees. I'm going to rotate my camera up to 0 degrees and come back 4 images the other way, and then I'm going to lift it up to +10 degrees and come back again for my third row. And that way I'll be able to crop and adjust in post however I need to get the image exactly how I want it. And I'm kind of envisioning a 1-to-1, a very square aspect ratio for this particular image. It didn't work for the wide angle lens, but for this it might work nicely. So what I'm going to do is kind of walk you through the process when I get back into the office on the computer. I'm going to walk you through the process of how I go about editing the images and how I blend them and stitch them together and using Lightroom and Photoshop. It's a little bit more of a process since there are multiple rows, so I will take you through that process as I get back into the office. So hopefully you enjoyed it out here today with me. I enjoyed it with you.